Okay, folks, welcome to the second half of the show. If you're watching this on YouTube, we did a Sarah Heron interview for the Pop Culture Roundup. We talked a lot about Bravo. We're going to talk a little bit about Bravo here as well, but a bunch of other pop culture stories. And just remember, if you do watch on YouTube, remember the actual audio podcast usually has a bunch of pieces that you will not see on the YouTube. So I guess listen and watch. Do both. Do both at the same time. Who knows? How are you guys once again? The first part of the show is pretty tight, but let's we got a lot of other things to talk about. And I wanted to talk a little bit about my weekend or the past couple of days. But first off, I saw Real Housewives of New Jersey tonight and Real Housewives of Dubai. Real Housewives of Dubai, the second season premiered tonight. Now, they gave me the first three episodes. I've only watched the first episode, and I'm going to save the other two for later this week because I like to kind of I don't know. I was like, maybe I'll space this out a little bit. And it's one of those things where I get nervous about new Bravo shows or shows that, we just saw what happened to Summer House Martha's Vineyard, where now it has been put on pause because not enough people watched it. And I feel, and I'm scared that Real Houses of Dubai is going to have a similar fate. So it's important to support all of these shows. We've all kind of landed at Bravo, the majority of us that are listening or watching. So we want to support those kind of shows because that means other shows can be made and new stories, and we'll meet new people, and that's exciting. Real Housewives of New Jersey, I have to say, at certain points, I'll throw my hands in the air on the couch and be like, I'm losing track, man. You guys all, who's betraying who and who's fighting who, and I get it. Melissa and Teresa aren't talking anymore. Danielle, Jackie Goldsnyder now is saying she's a free agent. She's not on any team, but at the same time, you get the sense that she wants to be on Teresa and Jen Aiden's team. It is a mess, and it's not necessarily an enjoyable mess. And that's what we were just talking about with Sarah at the end of the interview about the Jersey reunion not happening. And I think that's so interesting for so many reasons, but it kind of boils down to, and we'll find out more information, I'm sure, as the season goes on, but these housewives interacting with fan accounts and having them plant stories, it's just, I think, a bridge too far. I think we've gone too far, and we need to get back to some basic building blocks, and that is telling stories about fabulous women. Telling stories, and of course, that involves drama and fighting and all the things that we have come to know and love. But I don't know. I don't know if you reboot this show. I don't think you need to take it to square one. But like, it's just the Teresa Melissa thing. It's never going to be solved. But if we are actively having cast members work against other cast members and using fan accounts, there is something so wrong and so not necessary in that it makes it really not enjoyable to watch. I mean, I was watching this episode and I just sat there and if you can't believe anything that these housewives are saying, we've got a bigger problem. You're just saying, like, I don't believe you when you say you aren't doing this or aren't doing that. I don't know. I feel a little lost when I watch Real Housewives of New Jersey, and I don't want to because there are still great elements to it. I love watching Dolores and Frank Catania Sr. and the kids eating dinner. I love watching that. There are so many elements to this that I think the show works, but overall, when they come together as a group, I mean, I brought up the thought of like Tom and Ariana, and the big argument between a lot of people, even production, was we need Tom and Ariana to have a scene together. They need to have a big fight. And I thought in Vanderpump Rules that didn't need to happen. I thought, okay, they're all in the same place. And I thought it worked because you had a reason. There was a reason why Ariana was not having these conversations with Tom Sandoval. But I think when it comes to Melissa and Teresa, they are in a similar boat where they both do not want to interact with each other anymore. And I have a little bit of a different feeling of that because we've seen it so many seasons that at this point, I feel like it should have been course corrected or production. And listen, we can all be Monday morning quarterbacks. We truly don't know at the end of the day what happens in production. But I think they should have been figuring out an exit strategy for one of these women, unfortunately. It just does not work because this intense hatred or this Cold War that is happening, it just stops a lot of things in its track where I could almost handle it in Vanderpump Rules. And I saw the motivation and the reasoning, and it made a lot of sense to me. Real Housewives of New Jersey, I understand there's hatred, but I'm like, okay, well then we need to move on. And it might mean you guys, both of you, one of you, somebody has to leave because things need to move on. things need to go on. Like, we can't be in scenes about other women and we're still thinking about the overall problem here. There is so much hatred in Jersey, not just from these ladies, but the fandom itself, that I feel like it is a prisoner of its own success at this point. And Teresa, like I've said many times, is a legend, but the show is kind of a prisoner of Teresa's because it is Teresa's show. And if Teresa doesn't want to play ball, we're once again stuck in the mud. So there's all of these things. I mean, of course, people have complaints about Marge. People have complaints about I think every cast member at this point. Maybe not Dolores, but I'm sure there's some Dolores haters out there. It's a really confusing show to wrap your head around. And at some point, you kind of, to use a Tom Sandoval saying, you dip out because you're like, it's just not hitting. I think at the end of the day, we watch these shows for so many reasons, but one of these reasons, and you might fight me on this, is that we believe that there can be forgiveness of some sort after time, that there is a path forward, that okay, maybe things, who knows? And with Melissa and Teresa at this point, after so many years of thinking, oh, they'll get it together, I truly am at a place where I feel there is no path forward. And the show is dragged down because of that. And I don't know. I mean, Real Housewives of New Jersey, such a legendary property. So you don't throw it all away. You don't cancel it, but the ratings are going down. I don't know. I mean, I think we all want this show to succeed because we've seen it at its best. And all shows, like baseball teams, like football teams, they have bad seasons. And we're not in a bad season. We're just in a season that has not hit me in any sort of emotional way. It is not even, a good show for me is when I'm sitting there and thinking of memes of like, oh, that'd be a funny meme, or that would be funny, or that was really funny. And I don't have that a lot with Jersey. I get a lot of just weird vibes when I see it. I'm trying to still be able to put it into words. So anyways, that and the Real Housewives of Dubai, like I said, I watched. It's very, they're very affluent, wealthy women. Caroline Stanbury, I always have gotten a kick out of her, even since Ladies of London, which you can stream on Peacock. And so we'll see where that season goes. I do think there was a little bit of a missed opportunity to catch people up on a season that they potentially haven't seen yet. Is that season 1 came and went, and that was over a year and a half ago, maybe even longer. And I think a lot of people have forgotten what happened on that first season. So I think there should have been a fun little way to kind of encapsulate that first season in like 5 to 10 minutes and go, hey, it's okay that you're here. Does not matter if you didn't watch first season, because we're going to catch you up right now and then get into the second season. You don't want people to already look at their DVR or their cable guide description and go, oh, wait, that's premiering? Oh, shit, I haven't even watched the first season. It sometimes is like this mental block in your head of like, oh, I'll watch something else where I'm more comfortable and I don't need to catch up. So I thought they should have caught everybody up right there in the beginning. Those are just my 2 cents. I could be wrong, but they're also, I noticed their next episode isn't next Sunday. It is, I believe, on the 11th. So I believe they're moving to Tuesday nights, if that's not mistaken. And then tonight, you guys, on Bravo, we have Below Deck Med. That came out of nowhere. Captain Sandy and Aisha is the chief stew. So we have Aisha back on our TV screens. Hey, I'm Aisha. That's my Aisha. I'm Captain Sandy. I am going to get into your business in the kitchen. I will watch over you like a hawk, even though I am supposed to be steering the ship. I watched the entire season of Below Deck this past season, and it's fine. It's like great background noise, as I always said. It's like, okay, another season of Below Deck came and went. Not bad, not great. It's really highly watchable, but nothing like really stood out. But Below Deck Med, I'm really curious how that's going to come off. And but I love Aisha so much. I mean, she is a star to me. So I'm very excited to see that. Also, I love with Below Deck because there is not a season or even potentially an episode that goes by that they don't try to trick the audience into thinking that when they park the boat that they're going to crash. Like, there is not an episode that goes by. They're like, okay, we're coming in. We got 2 meters. And then they cut to commercial. They're like, no, no, no. And then they come back from commercial and they're like, we just made it. Nice. Good work. Good work, gang. Like, there is not an episode. Just once. I want to see Captain Sandy like literally impale somebody at a dock. I just, where she's like, oh, geez, I shouldn't have been watching over people in the kitchen. Oh, no, I impaled some poor fisherman. Like I just, for once, because I now feel like I've spent 12 years of my life watching Below Deck where I've literally thought people are going to get hurt when they're parking this boat and they never get hurt, but they always make a scene. Like it seems like, oh shit, it is so like if I'm ever on a yacht, which will never probably happen, I'm going to be a scared shitless when we park because I'm going to be like, that's where death happens. Not in the open water, not with pirates or the Titanic. It's going to be parking the ship. So we have a new season. Like that came out of nowhere. Like was like, wait, that's tomorrow? So yeah, guys, new season of Below Deck Med tonight. So check that out as well. This weekend was a trip. I do want to say on Thursday night. Okay, so Thursday was a big night. So Jeff Lewis had a show for all the chumps in Irvine. I think it was Irvine. It was about 45, 50 minutes away. And I was invited to that. I really wanted to go. But I got this really cool opportunity on Thursday night. And I was it was so funny. This lady that listens to the podcast, shout out to Allison Melody. She heard the story back when I went to the DirecTV party for the Oscars. And I thought I was just going to the party to watch the Oscars, but in reality, I could have worked the press line and asked everybody questions. But I went, I didn't have any of my equipment, I didn't have anything, so I wasn't prepared. And felt so like such an idiot. And I was like, oh my God, I missed this golden opportunity to do something because I'm one of those geeks that I've always wanted to work a red carpet. Like I truly like talking me and you, just us, like I'm goofy, I'm silly, but I love interviewing people. I love trying to get better at it. I mean, this is my dream ever since I was a kid. I grew up on Entertainment Tonight, Access Hollywood, anything entertainment. It wasn't even, I didn't want to be in it necessarily. I just wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to celebrate it. I wanted to shout it from the rooftops how much I love movies and TV and music. Well, anyways, they had the Golden Trailer Awards this past Thursday at the Orpheum Theater downtown, which is one of the most beautiful old school Hollywood theaters in Los Angeles. And the Golden Trailer Awards celebrate all the people that make movie trailers and TV trailers and movie posters and video game previews. And, I said this last week, when I was a kid, I would never miss a movie like I would get to the theater early just so I could see movie trailers. I loved it. I love watching movie trailers. It gets you so excited about a movie. And in this day and age, you need that now more than ever to get people to go to the theaters. You need to get people really, really excited. And these people that are able to pick the best beats in a movie and put them in a 2.5 minute trailer. I mean, that's another art form in itself. So this is the 24th annual Golden Trailer Awards that they had. And she asked me if I wanted to host the red carpet. So they live streamed the 2-hour red carpet where it was live stream and then interviewing not only the people that make these trailers that were up for the awards, but they had some celebrities too. They had Kate Flannery, who played Meredith from The Office. They had Matt Walsh from Veep, and he's one of the guys that started the improv troupe Upright Citizens Brigade, who I love. But so many great people, and they just kind of, me and this other lady that I got to work with, who is like a pro, they just set us loose. There wasn't a lot of, I tried to do as much research as I can, but it was just one of those run and gun things where they're like, good luck. And, this press line, they would tell us who it was and they'd be like, oh, hi, oh, what are you excited about tonight? And what do you love about trailers? What was your favorite movie this year? And I got to tell you, it was just a magical night. It was so fun. So thankful to have had that opportunity because it gave me like a frame of reference for hopefully the next time I get to do something like this. It's like a muscle like anything else where I got to work that. And I was really scared and nervous about it because I've done so much of this, but I haven't done like really a lot of stuff like that out in the wild. So I was like, okay, this is what this is. And you're like, okay, next time if I get another opportunity, this is what I'm going to do. Or I'm going to try to be better with my hand expressions, or I'm going to try to sweat less, or I'm going to wear something more presentable. There was all these notes I had given myself afterwards, but I was so thankful to have that. And so I was sad to miss the Jeff Lewis show because I would have loved to have seen that. And then I was invited to this Netflix reality show summer party that they had at like the mansion for one of the mansions that for Buying Beverly Hills, Mauricio's show. And they invited all the Netflix reality stars. A lot of my fellow podcasters were there, and I had to miss that as well. But I think I made the right decision. It would have been more glamorous to go to the Netflix one, and it would have been funner to go to the Jeff Lewis. But I think I made the right decision because I think it was really important to keep working on my craft, to keep working on this and see what I can do and I don't know, give myself a little confidence. So happy to have been able to do that. And then Friday, you guys, I know you're like, I'm here for the stories. Why are you talking about your stupid life? I know, it's almost over. On Friday, you remember Sarah McLachlan? She it's all the sad bastard music, like I will remember you. And like in the arms of the angel. Sarah McLachlan had this brilliant album 30 years ago called Fumbling Towards Ecstasy. And when I was a kid, I loved this album. I thought it was just incredibly amazing. And then her second album, Surfacing, is just as amazing. Canadian singer-songwriter, and her albums really moved me, I guess, God, 30 years ago. What the fuck is happening in this world? How is time moving this fast all of a sudden? Anyways, she's doing this tour where she plays the whole album, but she also plays all of her hits. She was playing at the Hollywood Bowl on Friday night, and I am a huge fan of the Hollywood Bowl. So last minute, we got some cheap tickets and we went to the bowl. It was a nice, cool, foggy night. And it was funny, man, because it's all sad music pretty much. And it was one of the first concerts I've been to that nobody stood up. And I was like, wow. Like I have been to so many concerts in my life. I'm coming off seeing Taylor Swift 2 times, but it is funny to get to an age where you're like, oh no, have I gotten to the age where we sit down at concerts? I'm always good for a little sitting during a concert, but I want to be at concerts where you stand your ass up. Now, that's really hard when they're playing extremely sad Sarah McLachlan music. Now, remember, Sarah McLachlan kind of turned into a little bit of a joke here and there in the early aughts because she was so nice where she lent her, she was a spokesperson for the ASPCA. So late at night, you would be like watching a TV or like South Park, coming back from a bar, and you'd be turning something on and it'd be a commercial of like, for just $5 a month, you can help Sparky get out of this cage. And it would have the Sarah McLachlan music of like, in the arms of the angel. And they would show all of these injured dogs. And you would be like, no, I love dogs. Please, no, Sarah, don't show me anymore. And it'd be like, I'm Sarah McLachlan for the ASPCA. And you're like, I know who you are. Please stop this. I'll give you whatever you want. And I remember it became in the early aughts, a little bit of things like she would be teased about. And she's such a brilliant singer songwriter. But I didn't even know, like, I haven't heard about a Sarah McLachlan tour for years, but you got to go and celebrate those things. Like I said last week, in terms of pop culture memorabilia, we're always chasing those things that gave us good feelings when we were younger. The things that were a little bit magical to us or moved us, made us cry, anything. We're chasing that feeling for the rest of our lives. So I found as I get older, you got to take those moments where you're like, oh, I've got to go honor this person that has made me cry in the past. I've got to go do that. And so we went and honored, and it was fun. It's so funny because it was beautiful, but there is this song, it's on the Surfacing album, and it's called Adia. And it's like, Adia, I do believe I failed you. And it's like her and the piano. And it's kind of a beautiful song. And I've never really known what it's about. And I think with songs, we kind of inject our own personal lives and experiences in that. And we kind of take lyrics and we're like, oh, that's what this means to me. And, they have a story, but sometimes you put your own story into it. Now, Adia, I never looked into deeply, but Sarah, the interesting thing about the Sarah McLachlan show, she sounds just gorgeous. Her voice still so pure. She looked great. All of that stuff, top notch. But I also thought it would be a little bit more of a storytelling show. Like the old VH1 storytellers, which I used to love, or MTV Unplugged. But she didn't tell any of the stories of like certain songs. Like there's a song at the beginning of Fumbling Towards Ecstasy. What is it called? Possession. And is it called Possession? But it's about a stalker. It's about her stalker. And it's like and when you listen to the lyrics, you're like, oh, this is really dark once you know the story. Well, anyways, she didn't do any of that for any of the other songs. But Adia, for some reason, she was like, well, let me tell you a little story about how I wrote this song. It's not an accurate Sarah McLachlan imitation, you guys. And we're like, okay, yeah, let me hear the beauty of this song. And she was like, listen, I had a best friend, right? And I ended up cheating on, I didn't know, it was like her boyfriend, I ended up, I he cheated on her with me, and we ended up having 2 kids together. I think that was the story of like, yeah, it was her boyfriend, but then I ended up hooking up with him, and then we had 2 kids together. We didn't talk for a really long time, and but now we're good, guys. We're good, and I was there when the birth of her child, but it was like you just didn't. You're like, wait, what? Like Sarah McLaughlin seems so ethereal and pure and nice, and you're like, wait, what the fuck? Wait, Sarah, what'd you do? Wait, you stole your best friend's dude and then you had kids with wait, what? And then it makes sense because the first lyrics of the song is like, Adia, I do believe I failed you. I'm like, hell yeah, you did. What? And it was just because I just didn't see it coming. It reminded me there's an old Saturday Night Live sketch with Will Ferrell and John Goodman, where Will Ferrell, look this up, you guys. It's a really dark sketch, but Will Ferrell plays Neil Diamond, the singer songwriter, and it's a VH1 storytellers. He's like, "Hey, I'm Neil Diamond. I'm going to be telling you how I made some of my classic songs." And John Goodman is his like guitar player, I think, next to him. He's like, "Well, let me tell you a little bit about this next song. Well, I think everybody knows I have an affinity for pornography and not softcore. We're talking hardcore pornography. And I'll pretty much look at anything. I'm insatiable with my porn habit, and that's how I wrote Cracklin' Rosie. Cracklin' Rosie, get on. And it would be each story would be like worse and worse. It would be like, well, there is one time me and my guitar player here, which was John Goodman. He's like, we had been drinking pretty heavily and, of course, driving, and we ended up killing a hobo. And John Goodman's like, hey, Neil, please don't tell that story. He's like, I will tell that story. Anyways, that's how he wrote, I'm coming to America today. My country, 'tis of thee. Um, so it's so ridiculous. But that's what it reminded me of. You just didn't think Sarah McLaughlin was about to tell you a story where she cheated with her best friend's dude. It really like the whole rest of the concert. I'm just sitting there thinking about Sarah McLaughlin doing this instead of this beautiful ethereal music. Anyways, overall, a magical night. I highly recommend it when she comes to your town. But I got to tell you, it truly is weird to be at a concert where you're sitting down. And I feel like, oh no, that's what getting older is all about. I will be now sitting down at more and more concerts. Now, speaking of concerts, we've got to congratulate our own Countess Luann. Our Countess Luann did her first music festival this weekend. She did her first music festival this weekend. It was called Mighty Hoopla in Brockwell Park in London. And I got to tell you, folks, this had thousands and thousands of people. Now, it's a real music festival. They had Nelly Furtado, In Vogue, Eve, Bananarama, if you remember them from the 80s. Let's see here. Karma's a bitch. Jojo Siwa. That's what it was like. Jojo Siwa. They had some really big acts and then smaller acts. You had Jesse Ware doing a set. I'm looking through this set list. But anyways, Countess Luann did her first set at a music festival. And you got to go check out the video because she comes out and you guys, I was so scared. I saw this announced like months and months and months ago. And I was like, oh, uh-oh. You know, I've been to a lot of musical festivals in my day and it can be a tough crowd. And she's got a daytime slot. But you guys, this crowd couldn't have been nicer to her. They seemed so excited. And she came out backstage and you could tell this just lit her up. And it was so amazing to watch. And people were laughing at her jokes. She was doing her F, Marry, Kill show, which she's been doing everywhere in the US, but she took it over there. And I don't know. I hate to be sentimental about this, but I just love when these ladies get a win. I love because Countess Luann over the years has been made fun of so many times. You know, remember when Bethany used to talk down to her, or Dorinda would say a sly comment here and there. And I love people that just never give up, or sometimes they're oblivious enough where they just keep going. In acting class back in the day, I used to pray for obliviousness because when I was bad, I knew I was bad. And sometimes I wanted to be oblivious to the fact that I was bad because you would see the actors that were oblivious and they would end up being so oblivious that normal person would be shamed into quitting acting and going, "Hey, I'm not good at this." But they would be so oblivious to the fact that they were bad that they would keep going. And eventually they would be good and they would catch on. You know what I'm saying? And Countess Luann, I love that there's an obliviousness there. And I mean that as a compliment. I truly do. That she is really coming into her own. She's doing bigger and bigger stages. And it's like she's got a husky voice. She's starting to really realize her strengths. And all of a sudden, like she's an act that people like are genuinely excited to see. And I just never thought I would see the day. And I got to tell you, I felt really good. You got to go look at some of this video, you guys. Maybe I'll try to put some on the YouTube. Sorry, maybe put some on my Instagram tomorrow because it was just fantastic. I know I'm getting sensitive, or I've always been sensitive, but I almost teared up. I was like, this is beautiful. Somebody had a sign they were holding up that said eggs la francais, or like, it's like they were holding up Countess Luann signs of some of her famous sayings. The audience was screaming like, chic, c'est la vie, c'est bon, c'est bon. So congratulations. I mean, truly congratulations go out to Countess Luann. Holy moly. So proud. What a winner. Now we've got huge Traders news. I was sent this by a friend tonight, and take this with a grain of salt. We don't know if this casting is true, but I think it is fascinating. And I've seen crazier casting, but this is what it is rumored to be so far. It is a real mixed bag. The only reason we'll go through this together as a family, but the only reason I'm not going to completely bash it is because you just don't know. Season 2 was fan flippin-tastic. And I'm going to think that they do know what they're doing. So I'm going to trust whoever they put in that show, and then we'll watch it and see if we like it. But man, some of these, it is wild, you guys. Robin Dixon from Real Housewives of Potomac. She might not be on Potomac anymore, but she's going to be on Traders. Okay, that's interesting. Now, Dorinda Medley. Okay, fantastic. Now, this doesn't seem... Mary Cosby from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City? What? Okay. Now, moving on. We... This is just... sorry, Sierra Miller from Summer House. Okay. I really have taken a different look and a different, I've thought differently of Sierra Miller this season because of Wes Wilson, and I've started to really like her. So interesting. I would have picked Paige DeSorbo first, but Sierra, it'll be interesting to see her in that environment. You have Chanel Ayan from Real Housewives of Dubai. She's a character that should be interesting. They are saying Dolores Catania. Okay, that could be interesting. Now here's the one where I'm like, guys, what the hell? They are saying the rumor is Tom Sandoval has been cast in season 3 of The Traitors. What deal did Tom Sandoval make? Did they say I'll come back this season and what? Now listen, it's a double-edged sword, right? Because I don't want him to keep getting these opportunities, but man, if he's on it, I'm going to be doing full recaps of The Traitors every week. What's up, dude? Don't kill me, dude. I'm not a traitor, dude. I'm a fucking faithful. Are you kidding me, dude? Oh, dude. Hey, Mary Cosby, what's up, dude? Do you like music? I do a band, dude. We play a lot of funk, soul, R&B, all the hits, Do you like Incubus? I mean, listen, I don't know if I'm loving that he's continuing to fail upwards, but whatever. It the more I think about it, the more I'm like, get that man to the castle. I cannot. And then I'm like, please don't get out the first episode. I'm like, I want this guy to go towards the very end. We do know he's good at lying for the most part, unless his phone falls out of his pocket at like the traitor ceremony and it says he's a traitor. But I'm just so shocked that what about Katie Maloney? I mean, even Sheena or even Lala, but Tom Sandoval, we're still rewarding these men. It doesn't make tons of sense to me. Now, there are other non-Bravo people that are said in this rumored list to be in season 3 as well. So let's read. Okay, here are the other ones. This is from the U.S. Sun, so take it with a grain of salt. They're saying Chriselle from Selling Sunset. Okay, Chriselle from Selling Sunset. You've got Caroline Weiger from season 44 of Survivor. I love Carolyn. I thought Carolyn was so quirky, so funny, and then in the end, actually very talented. When in Survivor, she got to the fire making challenge. I remember her practicing, and you realize like how much knowledge she actually did have. And I thought she was great. I thought she has such an interesting energy that I would love to see her on another reality show. Also, Tony Vlachos from season 28 of Survivor. You've also got Brittany Haynes from Big Brother. Bob Harper from The Biggest Loser. Bob Harper, I like Bob Harper. But it is just a mixed bag. And like, listen, I was hoping for a Spencer Pratt in there. I mean, there were so many, and hopefully traders will go on for mini seasons. And I know it is all over the place, but that's what the casting is supposed to be. But I think there are some kind of like, I mean, it'll be interesting to see Robin on a show other than Potomac, but you're looking for these dynamic personalities. Once again, the further I get into this, and maybe you guys, the further you get into these things as well, you kind of want to know about production. You want to know what the casting process is. You want to know what those conversations are, of why these people, they think this is the mix. I don't know. Like even Teresa, I thought would have been good from Jersey. But listen, I'm going to trust. I thought season 2 was fantastic. Also, it says that Tom Sandoval has canceled his June Tom Sandoval and the Most Extras dates. So it seems like a pretty locked thing that he is going to be there. Sorry to everybody that potentially is missing out on seeing his band in June. But I guess hopefully, hey, he needs that money to potentially buy Ariana out of the house or for legal bills, whatever it is. But that is potentially your cast for Traitors season 3. I know I will be seated, and we will be covering that top to bottom on So Bad It's Good. I the Tom Sandoval at all really excited me. I'm like, okay, good. I'll be able to do my Tom Sandoval impersonation before season 12 of Vanderpump Rules. Now, it is the big Pride Parade was today in West Hollywood, and that is where Tom Tom is located. And my friend Jairus was out there and took pictures for me, and they had covered up the Tom Tom sign on the front of the Tom Tom building with pride flags. And ever since Pump closed, they moved the Pump sign right next to the Tom Tom sign. And they also took the gate from Pump and put it over at Tom Tom. And I've said before, it was like too much. It's like too busy, too much is happening. And I was like, this is weird. And they covered it up. And maybe that's Lisa thinking that Pump meant more to the gay community than Tom Tom. But I found I was like, what is going on? Is she like literally trying to already start storylines for season 12 of like, I can't have this be Tom Tom anymore. We must revive the spirit of Pump. Nick Elaine, help me, Nick. I can't believe she covered up the Tom Tom sign. That wasn't Tom was in the jacuzzi. I can't believe that. I mean, what is happening? I just thought it was a weird slide. And I was like, what is going on? Is this just like means nothing, or does it mean something? And potentially Lisa is trying to stick it to Schwartz and Sandoval since they've got Schwartz and Sandy's. I don't know, but it really was very, very weird. Do you guys have any information on that? But it just seemed like it was. I just thought that was so interesting. Now, we talked a lot about Vanderpump Rules with Sarah on the first hour, but a couple of things I wanted to mention. I talked about this on the Patreon, is that Lala Kent did an Amazon Live where she was asked if she, was going to go or had gone to something about her to have a sandwich. And on her Amazon Live, she was like, oh, is that open? Oh, good. Good for them. Yeah, no. Well, West Hollywood's a little bit of a hike. Yeah, so I don't have any plans now, and then it kind of got into the weeds of, well, when they're on DoorDash or Postmates, I will definitely be ordering sandwiches. And I just thought, Lala, something about her open. Something about her open. I could give you 40 reasons she knew that something about her was open. And I just thought, at some point you can say, hey, we're not in the best place right now. So I don't know if it's good, but also I kind of feel bad because I said nothing about her multiple times at the reunion, thinking that was going to be a funny t-shirt slogan at some point. A little bit backfired in my face. But man, I do want to celebrate that. It is great that they finally got it open. I just thought there were so many other ways to handle it than how she handled it. Now, Katie Maloney, um, I think this is Reality Ops, who I believe, I hope I'm not mistaken, has a podcast as well, but they have an excellent TikTok account, Reality Ops. They're also on Instagram, so go follow them. Katie, they posted this video of the live, and um, Katie responded, I think. Um, or maybe this is Vanderpod Recaps. I'm not sure, but Vanderpod Recaps is another great account to follow. Katie responded to this video of Lala and she writes, I mean, Jess for sure watched my stories, so she knew. Guess they don't talk that much. And then she did 3 of the emojis of the crazy face with like the one eye going up to the right and the tongue out like, which is my dad's favorite emoji. He uses it way too much and it makes me uncomfortable. But I love that Katie will Katie is turning into one of my favorite acerbic comedians ever. She's like the choke comment to Tom Sandoval last week, hysterical. But Jess, if you don't know, is Lala's co-host on the Give Them Lala podcast. So Jess watched all of those things, and obviously Jess is over there every day with Lala, so definitely knows. And I'm just like, why are we keeping up with this bit, Lala? Why can't like just at this point you don't like you can be proud of everything that you did and said, but just come on, don't double and triple down. It's okay to admit that you knew the sandwich shop opened. Like, why? What is the point in continuing the snideness of it all? Like, you're better than that. Like, it kills me that she continues this bullshit. I mean, what? We're gonna wait till they're on Postmates? You might not want to go yet, but say, hey, oh, I definitely want to go. I mean, there's just a way to go about it. So it just really does seem like she does want to stick it to them, and that continues the bad feelings. And I'm telling you, you're not going to get to a season 12 that way. It's really frustrating to see her keep leaning into that narrative. But yeah, anyways, I'm hoping to go to something about her this week. Finally, I was going to go this weekend, but then it was gay pride and it's way too insane on Santa Monica Boulevard. I'm sure that they were completely slammed. And then I was going to go last Tuesday, but I guess they're closed on Monday and Tuesday. So hopefully I'll be able to go on Wednesday and check it out. Very excited. Now, Ariana is off to Fiji to start hosting Love Island USA. Now, Love Island, you guys, I have watched the 2 Love Island UK, or not Love Island, but the overseas Love Island. Is it Love Island? What are they? Anyways, it started airing a week ago. Now it'll start. This is another great thing on Hulu. They used to wait 2 weeks. They had a 2-week interim where it was airing overseas every night, and then 2 weeks the US started airing it on Hulu. Well, they have now they're now airing it 1 week after instead of 2 weeks. So Love Island premieres on Hulu tomorrow. And then next week, Love Island USA, hosted by Ariana Madix, will premiere as well, which is very exciting. But if you have not watched Love Island, it is so addictive. It is a time commitment, though, because they air it every night. I think it's 6 nights a week. And the past 2 seasons, I got like 2 seasons ago when they had Davide and Ekansu, I got so into it. I got so into it. The first week and a half, you're going to hate it. And then this is a great way to sell things. You're like, you're going to hate it at first, but if you keep watching, you will eventually love it. And they basically just put all these hot people in a Love Island house and they make them play silly games and they hook up with each other. And some people fall in love and they steal each other's girlfriends and boyfriends. And it's really fascinating because it's every night. And, some seasons work, some seasons don't, but I have really enjoyed my Love Island journey. And I still have so many seasons to catch up on, but I highly recommend at least trying it. I can't wait to start tomorrow night. So we're going to start that, but check it out. And it is such an interesting show. And it's great because they have their own vernacular. Crack on. Well, we must crack on. I got a text. We got a text. So I'm very excited for my Love Island journey that has come up again. So check that out. That is, I think, potentially worth. Okay, and the other thing that I'm watching, and I'm not recommending this, but I am still watching The Kardashians. The Kardashians on Hulu. They are only 3 episodes into this season, right? 3 episodes in. and it is another weird viewing experience. Remember the old days of Keeping Up with the Kardashians when they were kind of this real family on the come up and they were really thirsty, and not that they're not still thirsty, but they were striving, and Kim would be excited about getting a tummy tea sponsorship, and they were all just they were very real, and now it is such a different show. And every one of those ladies is a producer on the show, and they get a say and get to give notes on the edit. And it's another really weird viewing experience. At this point, I believe the show continues so it can be an overall commercial for any projects that they're doing. But Kardashians, not for me, but for a lot of people in America, especially, but now I think it's more popular overseas. It was an aspirational show of like, wow, look where we can get. But it is so weird now because it has turned into one gigantic Make-A-Wish foundation for these people that have so much already. And they keep getting more and more and more. And the locations, like if you are into just seeing really fancy outfits, locations, food, cars, planes, private jets, all that stuff, then yeah, it's the show for you. But there doesn't seem to be a lot of soul in it anymore. And what I've always said over these last 5 years is that the Kardashians, if they wanted, could have the best reality television show of all time if they told the truth, if they really let us in behind closed doors. Like Kris Jenner has got to be one of the best businessmen or businesswomen or whatever you say in the world, period. But we don't really know how she operates. Kris Jenner plays a character on this show where she's like, oh, fuck this. Oh, where are my kids? I'm going to have another martini. And you know damn well that's not how she is in business because she is a panther. She gets shit done. Kris Jenner is a force to be reckoned with. And she's not just some bumbling, funny grandma that she sometimes now presents herself to be on the show. So, we don't even really know how she operates her business. She doesn't allow us into that. We just like, wow, it just seems pretty easy that all these things happen. And it's not. I mean, it was like kicking and screaming and clawing your way to the top. Well, now they're there. And it just goes to show you it's not so aspirational anymore. And it's this influencer. I mean, to me, they were some of the first influencers or showed, I think, kicked open the door and created a path for things like TikTok and the power of social media. I mean, these women, this family showed everybody. I think they really are the originators of influencer culture in so many ways. But there is still so much mystery, but it's a mystery that I don't even know if any of us really want to solve anymore. And I'm trying to be gentle because I'll continue watching it until it's canceled. And we are going to be stuck with the Kardashians until the day all of us die. They will be there forever. And they just they just keep accumulating wealth. I mean, we have multiple billionaires in the Kardashian Jenner families now. I mean, multiple billionaires. And by the time they're done, Rob Kardashian will even be a billionaire. I mean, at this point, it's too big to fail. They are a juggernaut where it's too big to fail. Now, there's a couple of stories that they don't even talk about on the reality show that I wanted to talk about. Now, in this episode of the Kardashians, though, Kim talks about being on American Horror Story, and they watched the premiere of American Horror Story together. And Ryan Murphy, the creator of Glee and all of these shows, so many amazing shows over the years, Ryan Murphy put Kim Kardashian in a very big role this past season of American Horror Story. Well, Ryan Murphy is in this and comes over to the compound and is like, listen, Kim, we think that you should have your own show. The show should be where you play a high-profile divorce attorney and you have your own divorce attorney law firm. And it's all females that work under you. And it's kind of like a Sex in the City vibe, but you're the most powerful, smart attorney ever. And you can tell Kit, you can just see her gigantic female boner. She's like, what? You think I should lead my own TV show? And she was like, well, I don't know if I can do it until after I pass the bar in 2025, which was great to finally hear her mention the bar again because she passed the baby bar. But still, I was like, did she give up on being a lawyer and now just wants to be an actor? So I was like, well, that's interesting. She's still trying to be a lawyer. But, in the show, she was like, I'm in my actor era, which I thought was like, girl, you're not Taylor Swift. These aren't your eras. And I guess it is, but it's it's something that I could never imagine going to a stadium and celebrating Kim Kardashian's eras, like the sex tape era, the Kanye era, the reality show era, the Skims era. I mean, these are all accomplishments, but in a very different sense. Um, I was talking to Kate on the Patreon about Taylor, and it somehow we started talking about Kim, and I said, Kim seems to be one of those people. I had a teacher that said this is that you want to love yourself in the art, not you want to love the art in yourself, not yourself in the art, if that makes sense. So you want to be able to like have something in you that you need to express. Something that makes you different, something that makes you individual, and also something that other people can see themselves in you or what you're trying to express when you're an actor or when you're some form of artist, whether you're a singer, painter, dancer, whatever. But Kim always strikes me, and this isn't bad, but it's just different. And it's not usually the actors that I gravitate to, where you can tell she's the type of person that likes herself in the art. Like, I like to see myself on screen. I can't believe it. I'm on, because that's her dream and she's living out her dream. I just don't think there's something in there, in that soul of hers that, like even with fashion, like Kanye helped her so much with fashion to the point where now she's like, now I see it. Now I think I know what looks cool and what this and that. And yes, she has created or been put her name on Skims, which is a multi billion dollar empire. Amazing, right? But the actor part of it, I'm like, wait a sec. Like I love that this is your next hill you want to conquer. But even watching American Horror Story or watching her scenes in American Horror Story, you could tell that she had been coached within an inch of her life. Like we used to coach people at the acting studio that I worked at. And, some actors would come in with their own choices and you'd be like, that's brilliant. And you would kind of clean up, their audition pieces. And some actors didn't have any choices at all. So you would give it to them. You'd be like, this is how you say the line. Or what are you trying to like? Try to say it this way or try to say it that way because they didn't have it in them. They didn't have that to pull from. And I just think some people have that and some people don't. Now, Kim is so powerful that she will be able to get the best coaching. She'll be able to get as many takes as she wants, even though working on a television show is run and gun. You're trying to get things done as quickly as possible. I don't know if she could lead a television show, but I do know she has the fire within her to do it just to prove other people wrong, which I don't sometimes think is the right reason to do anything. But even watching American Horror Story, she was like, yeah, it's like SNL, like people like just didn't give me the benefit of the doubt. And then I like killed it. And, it's going to be the same with this. And I'm like, maybe. But the thing that kind of bothered me is that they have this series every year, Variety magazine, one of the top Hollywood publications for the industry. They do this Actors on Actors series where they have two actors come together and kind of interview each other. And it's really amazing. They've done this so many years in a row. This year, some of the actors have Robert Downey Jr., Jodie Foster, Quinta Brunson from Abbott Elementary. I mean, it's just a who's who of actors. I mean, people that are usually up for Oscars that year. Robert Downey Jr. just won an Oscar for Oppenheimer last year. And it's a who's who in actors, but it's like established actors. Well, guess who is going to be on one of the episodes of Actors on Actors this season? You guessed it. Kim Kardashian is paired up with Chloe Sevigny, the actor. Now, Chloe Sevigny, amazing, done so much stuff. She actually recently did Swans, that the other Ryan Murphy show that was on FX. And she was one of the Swans, and she's an amazing actor. But Kim Kardashian is going to be paired with her, and this is where I start to draw a line, and I get a little angry because a lot of actors, it's something that you really work hard for. It might seem like, oh, that's an easy profession. It's not. I know so many actors that have struggled all their lives to try to get better and better and better. And I'm not saying that Kim can't be one of those, but to already give them accolades, like putting them on Actors on Variety, when you have now done a handful of projects, and this is about established actors and their craft and not about, well, this is how I broke into the industry. And this is how, because it's just so different for Kim. It's so different. And I don't think things are necessarily being handed to her in her life because she has worked hard. I want to be very gentle about that. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying is that there's an element of it truly not being fair, of it truly not like, and I'll watch it. And you know what? It might be, they'll find an angle, I'm sure, that will work. But I think part of it is to talk to people that are really, that really know their craft, that really know it. Now, if you were to talk to me about reality television or building your empire through social media, oh my God, Kim Kardashian would be one of the first people that I would beg to have on a panel, you know? But for acting, no, not yet, at least, not for another couple of years. And it just seems like now this is her new pet cause or pet thing that she wants to do with her life. And she has all the opportunity and the power because when you have a name now like Kim Kardashian, it gets things moving. It gets investors, it gets money thrown at it, even though she is not a proven box office commodity in any fashion, but she's proven in all of these other entertainment realms. So it gets attention for these things and it gets people's potentially eyes on something and you don't have to earn it as much. And I don't know, there's something so weird about that to me. And now, of course, that brings into conversation that Northwest played Simba, young Simba, at the Hollywood Bowl on the, was it the 30th anniversary of The Lion King? They did a big 2 night thing at the Hollywood Bowl last week. Rob Minkoff, Crystal's husband, directed it, of course, directed the original Lion King. But it's also Julie Taymor, the director of The Lion King, the musical on Broadway, that has been hugely successful. And they had all of the people from the original cast, or a lot of them. They had Nathan Lane. They had, just these amazing singers and dancers. And then you had Northwest. And you guys have probably seen the video at this point of Northwest. That he talked about obliviousness earlier, that I think was completely oblivious. She probably walked away from doing that thinking that she slayed it, that she killed it. She probably was told how brilliant she was time and time again. And she's a young child. So I'm not knocking that at all. But it is one of those things that you would have thought, oh my God, if you were at some kind of fourth grade musical, you would think, wow, she's great. Oh my God, so fun. But then to have it at the Hollywood Bowl with all of these industry professionals that, and also the other thing that bothered me is that Julie Taymor, was very particular costuming for The Lion King, the musical. And Northwest or Kim or whoever was in charge of North, they did their own costume and it looks completely different from everybody else on stage, which is probably part of it as well. And it just, like I said, nothing to do with North, but it's kind of the same thing where I feel like the Kardashians have pushed their way into industries because of this. Now, this, of course, is going to also be a part, and it's going to air live on, not live, but it's going to air on Disney Plus in an upcoming show. They will be airing this, so we'll be able to see it. And I do wonder, just like how Kim got booed at the Tom Brady roast, I'm wondering if all of a sudden they're going to make North like this soprano, beautiful opera singer. They're just going to completely change her actual voice. Like, because her voice was like, I just can't wait to be king. And then by the end, they're going to like correct it to a like, I just can't wait to be king. God, man, I'm in good voice tonight. Um, so, and of course, Disney, you guys, is an affiliate with Hulu, and Hulu produces they have the Kardashians on. It's all interconnected. The producers of The Lion King, I believe, also produces the Kardashians. So I get it. But also, they said that there was auditions for that part, and it came down to 3 people, and then they just gave it to North. They shouldn't have auditioned people in the first place for that damn thing. They should have just given it to North and said, hey, we're doing stunt casting. It's Northwest. It's perfect, But to have other kids in the industry that actually know what they're doing, I get stunt casting. I get, like, I even saw that Northwest was going to be in it, and there was a part of me that was like, oh my God, I would go just for the pop culture quirkiness of it. You're like, oh my God, I was there when Northwest sang, because I just had no clue. I mean, I knew Kanye wanted to do an album with her, but it's the Kardashians. Like, who, I know their bit by now. So I just thought it was really weird to put your child out there and then to watch all of the people commenting on it, because she was okay. I don't think she was Hollywood Bowl standard or what the Lion King's anniversary deserved, but I get why they did it. And it's obviously not North's fault, but it's another thing where it shows you the power dynamic and the power vacuum in Hollywood and how much these Kardashians get because of their fame. and the opportunities that they get that other people don't. Now, they have earned a lot of that, but I think they push themselves into certain corners of the industry that they don't necessarily belong. And I'm just like, okay, well, I guess at the end of the day, 20 years from now, when North wins her first Oscar, it'll be like, oh, I started as a young, struggling actor on stage at the Hollywood Bowl. You're like, that's not a young, struggling actor. You were given one of a big, huge opportunity immediately because you probably said to your mom that you wanted to be on stage. It's like when I wanted to be on stage, I had to be in a stupid church play like on Christmas Eve. Like I did, I got like, that was a great opportunity. Not get me wrong. I got to perform in front of 80 churchgoers, but it was a different thing. They didn't put me up, or nor did I have the opportunity or the chance to be at the Hollywood Bowl. And if I was at that age, I would have sucked shit. And I'd be Ryan Bailey that nobody knew, and people would just be throwing tomato, tomato, tomato. But I just think seeing that Kim with actors on actors, I don't put, I know it'll probably great. Kim will rehearse within an inch of her life. She'll make sure it's fine. It'll be edited to where it's fine. I just don't know sometimes if these things are deserved. And I think also it then falls into the overall production of the Kardashian reality show, where we're so far past actual reality anymore that none of us can see ourselves in any of them anymore. Like Chloe had a bit about like, oh, I have to make school lunches for my kid. And, it's like, yeah, I guess that's relatable. But you do that because you want to do it because you're a mom, but you don't have to do it because you could have tons of people working for you. It's a really weird viewing experience. The other thing that I cracked up humorously is that they're in Paris, and Corey Gamble and Chris, did you know they've been together almost 10 years now? They were eating like right underneath the Eiffel Tower. And that relationship is so weird. It's like Chris is like chugging down martinis. He's like, oh, we're here under the Eiffel Tower. Isn't it amazing? And Corey's like, yeah, very cool. Oh, Corey, we just work. Oh, we just have such chemistry. We sure do. We sure do. I'm going to call Clojo on FaceTime and see what she's up to. Okay. I'm like, what is going on here? It's just top to bottom weirdness. Top to bottom weirdness. So that's my rant on the Kardashians. Okay, we did J-Lo and Ben, which, by the way, we talked with Sarah earlier, but they were spotted today together again. So now 2 days in a row where they were hanging out, they gave each other an awkward kiss. I don't know if that means anything. Summer House we covered on the first hour, but we'll be covering Summer House much more this week because we have the first part of the reunion. Kesha did her first performance at Pride on, I believe, Friday night in West Hollywood. And, the one song TikTok where it starts, wake up in the morning feeling like P. Diddy, but she changed the lyrics to fuck P. Diddy and put it up on the screen. Also, that was Kesha's first performance as being a free woman because she is finally free of Dr. Luke, the music producer, all of that horrible lawsuits and going back and forth because Dr. Luke seemed like a very bad man in certain ways in which he has kind of tried to ruin Kesha's career. So congratulations to Kesha and FP Diddy. Let's see. Oh, okay. Also, Bethany Frankel, Reality Reckoning Bethany Frankel, who has seemed to have an obsession lately because Chanel would not let her in because she was dressed like a garbage man. And she tried to come in on a VIP customer day that she was not invited to or did not make an appointment. And I guess with Chanel, you got to make an appointment to go in there. I wouldn't know. I shop at Old Navy, and usually that's just online. So since then, she has been a content queen, like doing 40 videos, like just ranting and raving and doing sketches about Chanel. Well, guess what? That's not the only thing you're going to see Bethany Frankel doing in the next couple of weeks, because that's right, folks. Bethany Frankel, this is not a joke. She is starring in a Lifetime movie premiering Sunday, June 16th. This is not a joke. It is called Danger in the Dorm. And the poster is her looking very, oh, what's going on? And there's like a younger girl. So it's Bethany Frankel and this actor, Clara Alexandrova. I'm guessing that's her daughter. But Bethany Frankel is going to be acting in a Lifetime movie in a couple weeks. I will be seated. I'm like, that sounds painful. I will be watching. So I hope you guys will watch with us. Maybe I'll cover that on the Patreon and do a recap of that. And then finally today, I wanted to talk about Brad Pitt. he has been in so much legal entanglement with the relationship and the marriage with Angelina Jolie and all of their kids. And this is really interesting is that their daughter, Shiloh, filed to drop the name Pitt from her last name. So she recently turned 18 and she was able to file to legally change her last name. She no longer wants to go by the name Shiloh Jolie Pitt, and she wants to change her name to just Shiloh Jolie. And this is an article from NBC News. It says, according to two sources familiar with the matter, the estranged couple's daughter filed legal paperwork on her 18th birthday earlier this week to drop Pitt from her last name. The sources now say she wants to go by Shiloh Jolie. A source close to the matter said she hired and paid for her own lawyer. Heyo. Representatives for Pitt and Jolie did not respond to requests for comment. This is not the first of the couple's children to drop the Pitt surname. Zahara Marley Jolie did so in 2022. The news comes amid the famous couple's ongoing divorce battle. The couple, who share 6 children together, split in 2016. Man, it has been 8 years almost after Jolie accused Pitt of choking one of their children during a volatile transatlantic flight in 2016 on a private jet. Jolie filed for divorce following the alleged incident. NBC News obtained the FBI report of the incident in 2022. Following the alleged incident, Pitt was investigated by the Los Angeles County Department of Child and Family Services. NBC News has previously reported that Pitt was cleared of any wrongdoing and criminal charges were never brought against the actor. So this is interesting. Like, I think, wow. And it is so interesting. Like, whatever, we've always talked about that on this show, whatever happened on that private jet flight, which says choking one of the children. And I do want to say, I think after this incident was when Brad Pitt stopped drinking alcohol, and now he doesn't smoke cigarettes either, from what we've been told. But it must have just been so messed up that it is still bad vibes with the children. And it's just so, I mean, that's just sad. Like, I come from a pop culture day when I remember they were just adding to the brood. I was like, how many kids are they going to have? Like, they're having their own kids, they're adopting kids. Because remember, Angelina Jolie started off before Brad and she adopted Pax. And I just thought, this is interesting. We'll never truly know what happened on that jet flight. And you do wonder what has gone into covering up that news, because it seems like they're still fighting it out. Like, they're fighting over an estate, their winemaking estate, Miraval, that they both co-own. And there's there's lawsuits about who now owns the estate, because Angelina Jolie tried to sell it underneath from Brad Pitt. It is so weird, but just like, oh my God, you think about that jet flight. It must have been a hellish experience where these kids really truly seem like they don't want anything to do with their father. And Brad Pitt, one of the last remaining movie stars that we have. So yeah, I wanted to end with a fun story. Funny, haha, funny, get it? Little Teresa right there. I don't know. I shouldn't have ended with that story. That was like bad vibes, but I read that and I was like, wow, man, to change your name, that really sends a message. Anyways, I hope you guys will continue to use my last name, Bailey. I hope you will not make any legal maneuverings this week, because I want to stay connected as a family. Folks, I hope you enjoyed today's show. It was all over the place, but I hope you got something out of it. And then join us on Tuesday. We're going to have your Bish therapist from the podcast. Melissa's going to be joining us again. She was on in December, and I can't wait to talk to her tomorrow. And that will be coming out Tuesday. We got some great things coming up this week. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you tell a friend. There's more crap on the Patreon if you want more crap. I don't mean to call it crap, but you know what I mean. And have the best Monday ever. We will get through this week together. And that is it, folks. I know there's like 30 other things that we should talk about, but we got all week. Bye.